Hey there, folks. I'm Mark, in affiliation with Spectrum Pulse, and it's Billboard Breakdown. I don't remember. Well, folks, it's here. Pretty rare in today's day and age, especially apparently in 2020, but it should be cherished when it pops up. An old-fashioned cool-down week. More importantly, it's the sort of cool-down that comes from an album bomb that hasn't completely faded yet, which means that while there's a ton of gains and a few shockingly big new arrivals, and we'll get to those, it's not quite overwhelming, which means that maybe I might actually be able to get ahead of my schedule for once. But unlike most cool-down weeks, we do have some impacts to our top 10 that we need to discuss, well, outside of our number 1, where Rockstar by DaBaby featuring Roddy Ricch holds for yet another week, where incredibly strong YouTube and persistent radio presence has kept it pretty strong. Even if I'm starting to see a couple cracks in on-demand streaming, that could be telling. Then we got the short rebound for What's Poppin' by Jack Harlow and his remix with DaBaby, Tory Lanez, and Lil Wayne at number 2, which I've been expecting to eventually leap over Rockstar at some point, but as of now, just across the board, it lags. But that takes us to our newest challenger and a new arrival to the top 10, Popstar by DJ Khaled featuring Drake at number 3. So as per usual with this sort of big debut, it's riding huge sales and streaming out of the gate, and it does have a radio push, but the YouTube is not that huge. So I'm wondering how much natural groundswell will show up for this once the initial sales bubble bursts, because that's been a real question for both DJ Khaled and to a lesser extent for Drake this past little while. We'll touch a bit more on this, but next up is Blinding Lights by The Weeknd at number 4, which actually gained on sales this week and held its own on the radio at the very top yet again. This is not going down without a fight, amazingly enough. Then we had the slight rebound for Rose's I'm in Beck remix by St. John at number 5, which is once again stable across the board. I don't really see this going anywhere out of the top 10, especially in comparison to Savage by Megan Thee Stallion featuring Beyonce at number 6, where despite an okay rebound on streaming, it's in freefall on the radio. Again, I reckon this is probably on its way out pretty soon. Now compare this to Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles muscling back into the top 10 at number 7 thanks to great radio and sales. Yeah, the streaming's not really there, but it's actually making up a bit of ground there. But then we got our second DJ Khaled and Drake collaboration with Grease at number 8, which has the streaming but lesser sales and no radio. I mean, if we're looking for a major drop-off, it will come to this song. And that might actually be some good news for the one Juice WRLD song that has stuck around in the top 10, Come and Go with Marshmello at number 9. Yeah, the sales are gone, what would you expect? But the streaming did not really fall off, and there's even a little bit of radio starting. That's promising, I really like the song. But unfortunately, we're ending the top 10 on a sour note. Thanks to the video, we've got the arrival of Go Crazy by Chris Brown and Young Thug at number 10. And what you probably don't want to know is that it's actually pretty strong in all categories right now. So unless the sales of the streaming get short-circuited, we might get stuck with this for longer than I think anybody wants. Let's just hope I'm wrong on that. But let's move on to some lighter notes, our losers and dropouts. I mean, we had 3 modestly sized ones in the latter category. Be or Can't Fix by Thomas Rhett and John Party, that might have a sliver of a shot for the year-end list. And then Here and Now by Kenny Chesney and Gooba by 6ix9ine that almost certainly will not. But here's the thing. Pretty much all our losers are from Juice WRLD, and a lot of them actually just held on to the top 100, so let's just rattle through them. Screw Juice is at 95, Can't Die at 92, Man of the Year at 89, Fighting Demons at 79, Up and Away at 78, Tell Me You Love Me with Trippie Redd at 77, Bad Energy at 68, Stay High at 64, Titanic at 62, Righteous at 51, Blood on My Jeans at 49, Life's a Mess with Halsey at 42, Conversations at 38, and Hate the Other Side with Polo G, Kid Laroi, and Marshmello at 36. But again, since this is a cool down, Cooldown week, we actually got the rare occurrence of more returns than new arrivals this week. Shame a lot of them aren't all that good, because I'm not gonna say I'm all that thrilled that Bang by AJR is back at 90. I mean, we all saw Pretty Heart from Parker McCollum at 99, Enjoy Yourself from Pop Smoke at 98, 2 songs from Polo G with Flex with Juice WRLD at 94, and Go Stupid with NLE Choppa and Son of a Vegas at 96, and BS by Jhené Aiko and Her at 81. The last likely buoyed on Jhené's deluxe album release. But of course we're gonna go to our gains here, but here's the odd thing. There's actually less than the losses we got the past couple of weeks. I mean, there's still a lot here, it's like the quarter of the chart, so let's start off with a single gain off the debut for Tap In by Saweetie up to 66, followed by the continued gains for Lovin' On You by Luke Combs at 72, One Big Country Song by Low Cash at 50, and Rags to Riches by Rod Wave at 41. Then we got the losers regaining ground. Three-Headed Goat by Lil Durk featuring Lil Baby and Polo G at 87, Walk 'Em Down by NLE Choppa at 48, Chasing You by Morgan Wallen at 39, Die From a Broken Heart by Maddie and Tay at 35, The Woo by Pop Smoke featuring 50 Cent and Roddy Ricch at 32, Life Is Good by Future featuring Drake at 28, Bluebird by Miranda Lambert at 26, and Rain On Me by Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande up at 14. And as for the rest, well, I already mentioned Go Crazy, but going down from there, Before We Go by Louis Capaldi's up to 19. Yes, it's actually still around. Deathbed by Powfu featuring Bia Badoobie at 29. Emotionally Scarred by Lil Baby at 43. A little surprised that's still around. Said Some by Moneybagg Yo at 44. Yeah, this also stuck around. And Girls in the Hood by Megan Thee Stallion at 46. Then we get a brief slew of country with Got What I Got by Jason Aldean at 53. I Love My Country by Flora Georgia Line at 54, and Done by Chris Jansen at 56. Then we had Like That by Doja Cat featuring Gucci Mane at 57, Be a Light by Thomas Rhett and Co. at 59, Don't Rush by Young T and Bugsy featuring Heady One at 60, and finally, One Beer by Hardy featuring Lauren Elena and Devin Dawson at 86. But now on to our extremely short list of new arrivals here. Number 100, The Climb Back by J. Cole.
But the truth hurtful. Everybody gotta cry once in a while, but how long will it take for you smile?
So J. Cole has said that this last album before retirement would be called The Fall Off, and it actually appears we're on the doorstep of getting there, because here's a song he produced himself that's apparently a single from that project. And I'll admit, he did have an uphill battle to win me over on this one, because dear God, I hate how he pitch shifted that sample to a particularly grating chipmunk squeal behind the bassy trap knock. But from there, oh my god. For as good of a technical MC as J. Cole is, he sounds like he'd rather be anywhere else, and getting into the content makes me agree that he should probably go away if he wants to. I mean, if you're haunted by the deaths of black men all around you on your first verse, why by the second are you saying, well, some you just have to leave behind? Because once again, you're doubling down on your own personal individualist hustle to the very top where folks are just jealous of you? I mean, you like to crap all over worse rappers, but you can't mention any names, again. But you do find room to throw shots at PC culture to prove you really didn't learn anything after a no-name clapped back at you and won, didn't you, J. Cole? Hell, you even tried to flip Folding Clothes, that awful song from For Your Eyes Only, into how you don't fold under pressure. But again, like with Middle Child, a lot of this pressure is this formless paranoia, complaining about genius misquoting you, where you say that people don't get the real you, and I'm wondering where in the nine hells that even is on this song. So yeah, this wasn't at all good, nor enjoyable from the production on down, and it leaves me thinking I'm really not gonna miss much of this tension without payoff once J. Cole's gone. Good riddance. Number 97, Breaking Me by Topic and A7S.
You're breaking me, la 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 la. You're breaking me, la 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 la.
I have to admit, when we get international hits, I'm always a little bit surprised when they have any sort of real crossover, especially this one, which is a song from last year from a German DJ and a Swedish pop artist that's done the rounds overseas, but is only hitting in the United States now. And I can't be the only one who thinks that if Roses wasn't in the top 10 right now, this would have never crossed over. I mean, the driving, grainy, pulsating groove, the sharper drum machines, the vaguely melancholic tone, there's a lot of clear parallels. And the mood, it's kind of unsettled too when you start digging into the lyrics. It seems like A7S is trying to be the player with a lot of slick confidence, but he's also keenly aware that if this ex slides back into his life, he's just not going to be able to get over her easy, that she keeps breaking him, which I'm not at all sure is balanced all that well by his husky delivery, but such a propulsive groove. I don't know, I don't want to say this is bad when the groove is this good. I might like it even more than Roses, but otherwise, I don't quite love it. I will say that. Next up, number 8, Grease by DJ Khaled featuring Drake.
Come on me, fly you out the beach. Full speed, so volley Paris.
Alright, look, it's Drake collaborating with DJ Khaled. To say I've got rock bottom expectations is probably understating it, so in this first single, I mean, really? That wheedling sample behind your standard trap rumble where Drake also sounds like he'd rather be anywhere else, which only picks up any hints of elegance on the outro. Honestly, Drake kind of reminds me of the weak inflections you get in a lot of the most forgettable modern trap, which isn't helped by how heavy he goes in on all the brand names, where any sort of pickup feels almost incidental. And yeah, this might go off in a better way at, say, a club or outside, but as it is, this feels really undercooked and forgettable. I can't recommend it, but while we are here, number 3, Popstar by DJ Khaled featuring Drake.
Cops pulling up like I'm giving drugs. I'm a pop star, not a doctor.
I mean, it's better than Grease. I mean, at least some of the groove hits a bit harder off the faded sample and Drake sounds engaged on the verses, even as he tumbles through the hook sounding like he's mildly concussed or on some of the drugs that he's actually giving out to all the girls. And even then, the verses aren't stellar. The vocal pickup sounds a little cheaper than it really should. You can clearly tell Drake is phoning in his shoutouts and name drops, and there isn't much in the way of clever wordplay around a lot of his flexes. And by the time he's filling his second verse with a lot of half-formed ad-libs cribbed from Going Bad, I'm just left thinking that these songs were throwaways that Drake gave DJ Khaled for an easy 2-pack that will hit the top 10 because it's Drake. And unless somehow TikTok gets on board with this hook, which I have a weird suspicion might wind up happening, this is just forgettable. It's a Drake Lucy where you can barely tell what DJ Khaled actually contributed to the song, and thus I'm not going to remember or care about it. But I'll be honest, neither Drake song are the worst this week. No, that's the climb up from J. Cole and being just so utterly insufferable, with the production arguably annoying me the most here. Now the best... Breaking Me by Topic and A7S? Okay, look, the downside of a short week is that the odds are much lower that you'll wind up getting any sort of quality material, but given that next week could well see that big Taylor Swift album bomb to come, I will say it, things already look a little brighter, so stay tuned for that. But until then, I'm Mark, you're watching Billboard Breakdown, affiliated with Spectrum